We are back on Morning Line. It is our Social Security program. Our guest is Josh Horn, and we're taking your calls at 737-7587. Some lines open. Folks waited through the break, Josh. Next up is Elaine. Hello, Elaine.
Hi.
Hi, how can we help you? Hi, Elaine.
Yeah. Okay, so, you know, you guys were speaking about setting up my Social Security account.
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, I have been having trouble setting it up over the years, and I started trying to set it up back in maybe 2012 or so, just after I became disabled. And I'm computer literate, but every time I put my information in, it will say something about unable to set up this account called, you know, Social Security or whatever. And I wanted to know, why would that happen for someone? Maybe Josh can answer that.
Yeah, by the way, did you ever call to see? Did you try calling Social?
I never did.
Okay. Well, Josh, what do you think?
So one of the most important things to Social Security regarding these Social Security accounts is the security of the accounts, and so we're always working to try to make sure that it's as safe and secure as possible. So there's a couple of things that happens. You know, if you got somebody that gets in there and tries to get on your record and they do a bunch of things and end up locking it up, it locks it up because we're trying to prevent somebody from getting in there that shouldn't be in there. That's one possible scenario. The other thing is that we partnered with Experian to verify your information whenever you create your Social Security account. So it's difficult. It can be difficult to get in there because we're going to be asking some very tough questions about, you know, based on the Experian information about, you know, prior residence and some different things like that. And for most people, they can, you know, it may take them a minute, but they can kind of remember what was what, and they can get past those security questions. But we do have some folks that's like, I don't remember what my address was 10 years ago. And so we actually have a way that we can bypass that in the Social Security office. You have to come into the office, you have to show us your ID so we know you are who you say you are, and then we can get you past those security questions, get you a confirmation number that then you can go back and get past all that and get in. So my recommendation is, I'm glad that you're interested in a Social Security account, because I think once you get past that first hurdle, that it can really help you out. But if you swing by the office sometime, bring your ID, we can get you past that, make sure everything's unblocked and ready for you to log on and get that taken care of.
Yeah, if it's 2012, really, Elaine, you should go in and they should be able to set you up. And I think I know she probably had the same problem that we did to some degree with, you know, my folks. And we got past it, fortunately, but it took us a while because there were some questions that maybe you think are right, and you put them in, and maybe for whatever reason they don't match up with the data they have, and that'll block you. And so, yeah, and it's with good reason. It's for your security. So, yeah, you're just going to have to go in, but yeah, you should go in, have it taken care of, and then you'll be all set up.
Well, and if you go in for any reason, replacement car or whatever else, ask us while you're there. Hey, can you go ahead and help me get signed up? We love to hear that when folks say.
Yeah, and if she's computer literate, she'll be rocking and rolling. I'll tell you, it's handy to have. Let's go to Paul. Paul, good morning. Hi, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Nick, and good morning to your guest there.
Sure.
A couple of quick comments. Cynthia sounded a lot like Cindy, my old political rival on there. I think it's interesting. Secondly, to your point, Nick, earlier about people getting Social Security disability, I agree 100% with you, brother. I had a second cousin that fell off a house in Brentwood, roofing a house, about 6 or 7 years ago, broke his neck.
Wow.
And he's in a wheelchair. Now listen to the story. He's in a wheelchair permanently the rest of his life. He initially was from the neck down paralyzed, but he went to Vanderbilt, stayed in Vanderbilt 5 or 6 months, and they was able to get some of the use of his arms back there. His hands still stay curled up and all that, but he's in a wheelchair, permanently paralyzed from his waist down. He was denied Social Security disability twice. Can you believe that?
That's unbelievable. I mean, yeah. But did he finally get it? Did he finally get it?
He finally got it. Now, I had another friend who got it the first time. Listen to this. She went to a doctor, and she was diagnosed with anxiety or something, and she had to take anxiety pills, and she got it on the first time. Now, that's just bizarre to me, but that's true story, what I just told you. Now, to my comment to your guy there, I think he's a knowledgeable guy, great guy and everything. My comment to him is I've been working every day since I was 16 years old, public job. All right, I'm 48 now. I'm starting to feel the old clock ticking. You know, you don't live forever.
Sure.
My question to him is what's the solvency long term of Social Security? You know, is it going to be there for somebody like me? I hope to work till I'm at least 65, but who knows? You don't never know. And when they raised it from 65 to 67, you know, George Jones has an old song that says the cold hard truth. Well, the cold hard truth of that is people die between 65 and 67, tens of thousands. Is it going to be there for somebody like me in the future? And if not, I need to plan for that. And I know that's a tough question. Thank you for your show today, Nick, and God bless you, brother.
Sure thing, Paul. It's good hearing from you. And, you know, he's not the only one. I think the same thing.
Yeah,
and I know you don't have to look at the ledger, but the solvency for someone like him in his 40s, and me, I'm a little bit older than him, you know, you've said it'll be there, but it may be less, and you may have to wait longer.
Yeah, there's a couple of things when you talk about the solvency to consider. One of it is that the information that's coming out that we have is that if nothing's done, then several years from now, 70% of benefits will be payable. So something will be there, but it will probably be less. But I also like to remind you that when you ask the question, is it going to be there for you? I mean, it's there for you now, and that's something that I've tried to start communicating a little bit more to folks who ask this question. Is that if you become disabled tomorrow, Social Security is there for you now. So I like to kind of rephrase it a little bit. When you look towards the future, you look towards retirement. That's definitely one question that I definitely want to answer. But I also want to remind you that we are here for you now, and that if something happens, the benefits are there as far as disability. So. And
of course, full retirement for someone like him, as it stands, if it doesn't change, would be 67, correct?
Right. They are trickling that out.
And same thing with me, I guess. And it may change before long, but you could take it early. Remember, right? You can take it at, how early?
62.
You can take it at 62. Now, that's a massive, Paul, reduction in the amount. The longer you can wait, obviously, to full retirement, the more money you get, and it is not a small amount. But you've said before, look, if you're sick and you see the writing on the wall, go ahead and take it early if you're not going to be around in a few years. But if you think you are and you're fairly healthy, unless you just can't do it any other way, I highly, personally, won't even consider taking it early, because you take a massive financial hit when you do. I think you just do. All right, let's go next to Angela. Hi, Angela. Hello, Angela.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind?
Okay, it took me 5 years to get approved for disability, and I finally got it in 2005. And I've been on it ever since. I have a student loan, and I keep telling them I can barely buy groceries and pay for my medicine. I can't pay this bill. So is there anything for people on disability that they can get their student loan? The student loan is from 95. Wrote off.
Okay, and so are you on you got a disability, or is it SSI? Did you say?
Disability.
Okay, and yeah, so she has the student loan. It's money she acknowledges she owes, but she's suddenly become disabled, and the money she gets from Social Security, I understand, is barely enough. I don't know. Are there provisions to your knowledge, maybe not through Social Security, but maybe she could check with the loaning officers and explain her situation, or maybe at the very least they modify what payments. I'm sure she'd like to make good on it. She just can't afford to.
And yeah, and that's tough. There's nothing in the realm of Social Security that I know of that would help you in this.
On student loans or any debt?
I mean, on any debt, really. Again, inside the Social Security program, but my recommendation would be to be checking with see if there's any programs that the credit bureaus know about, or that just the different that the student loan itself, the company itself, or maybe where you went to school at may have some information. We'd be checking around trying to figure out what some options are. I'd be doing the same thing you are, but unfortunately in Social Security there's not really anything to help you with that.
Yeah, she should look. There are plenty of deadbeat former students that don't pay back their loans for bad reasons, in my opinion. This woman has a good reason. She's been injured and she means well and she can't do it. But you're right. So maybe check with the loaning company, check with your credit bureau. I'd be surprised if there's a program where they say, oh, you're disabled, or we're just going to forgive your loan. That would be wonderful. But maybe they can work with you in such a way that it doesn't damage your credit rating to the point where even if it's something like $10 a month, you know, and you got to find a way to afford $10 a month if it comes to that. But, you know, where maybe you can work it so that you're not considered, you know, violating your credit rating or something like that. So I sympathize with you on that. That's tough. But student loans, at least, hopefully, are low interest. So let's go next to Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
Good morning, Nick, and your guest.
Good morning to you, sir.
I have two questions. My wife is on Social Security, and she's working, and they're taking out Social Security. Will she get more credit for that? Will they up her check, or?
So it's a good question, and it does kind of seem counterintuitive that, you know, you're drawing Social Security, but if you still have a job, part-time job, full-time job, that you're still paying in Social Security. But that is part of, just kind of part of how it works, and the IRS rules and the tax rules and things like that. But basically, it could possibly help. So if you've worked full-time for 40 years and then you retire and you're working part-time, that's not going to really help you, because your full-time, those years that you worked full-time and was paying in more money, those are going to be the years that we're going to take into the equation, because we basically take the highest 35 years of indexed earnings. So we take all your earnings, we bring them up to today's numbers, and we figure out what the highest 35 years, and that's what goes into the equation. Now, if it's the other way around, maybe you didn't work very much.
Maybe she didn't work 35 years.
Maybe she only worked, you know, the minimum amount that it took which is 10 years, basically. 10 years. You know, the minimum amount of work that you have to do to get anything on Social Security retirement, and then she went back and did a part-time job. Well, a little bit of money is going to drop out those 0 years that are going in, because again, we take the highest 35 years, and even if 20 of them are zeros, and so that money can then drop out and it'll go up a little bit.
So, yeah, it could be a very modest, right, exactly. That's it. If she didn't work 35 years. The other part of it is, I don't know about you, but my first job 35 years ago probably will pay less than what I can maybe make, hopefully, if I'm working part-time later. And so even what that would do is, I'm making more on my part-time job than that first job you had as a teenager. That'll bump that one off, and the more money you made. So the answer is yes. I would imagine the change in the check would be extraordinarily modest.
And they do periodic,
you're not going to notice a huge jump.
And they do periodic recalculations, but if you want to kind of jump on it, then you know, you can give us a call once, usually in the springtime, once everything's posted to your record, and say, hey, I've continued to work into my retirement. I'd like to see if that will increase my amount, and we can do a quick recalculation to check that out.
Yeah, that's a great question, Thomas. A lot of people wonder that, and first time I heard it, I thought, well, that's interesting. That's how it bumps. And most people don't know you base it on 35 years of work. You have to have a minimum of 10 to qualify, and not everyone worked 35 for a lot of reasons. So you work part-time, it bumps a 0 off there and maybe increases your pay. Listen, we'll take a break. When we come back, more of your phone calls in our final segment with Josh right after this.